Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 15 Pro and compare it against the iPhone 14 Pro and see which particular iPhone is the better one for you. Now, in my personal opinion, I can definitely tell you that if I'm going to look at both, the newest phone is probably going to be giving you the most amount of features. It's going to be giving the most amount of capability. So kind of keep that in mind. But with something like the iPhone 14 Pro, I think this is still one of those devices that is still amazing. You're still going to get a ton of capability from it. So we'll take a look at that throughout this whole entire video. First things first, if you want to pick up either one of these particular phones, links will be down in the description below. You can get that from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these particular iPhones. The iPhone 14 Pro, which came out back in 2022, on the front side of this phone is giving you a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. Now, there's a lot of different things going on for this type of phone when it kind of comes down to it. Number one, I definitely do think that if you're going to take a look at this type of device, the iPhone 14 Pro with its type of display is still looking pretty good. This thing is giving you a ProMotion display. It wasn't the first iPhone to bring you ProMotion, but it was the second one. And this display was really nice. You were also getting that dynamic island inside of this phone too. And that was something that was really, really cool to have. If you were to go through and pick up an iPhone like this one that was giving you that dynamic island, this in and of itself was a really, really big deal. Because previously, we were stuck in these types of situations where Apple would give us like ProMotion but still give us a notch. Luckily with this one, they did kind of give us that dynamic island, which was a really nice feature, but it is what it is. You can't have everything at once. So at least this one still holds up fairly well. With the iPhone 15 Pro, on the other hand, this one is giving us the same size display. So it still is a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display, and it still is like a pretty good looking panel. This is currently the phone that I'm using on an everyday basis. You're still getting the dynamic island, but the difference here is that with the iPhone 15 Pro, you are getting a panel that is, I think, brighter, but also having less bezel around it. With the 14 Pro, there was actually a noticeable amount of bezel around that type of device. The 15 Pro, not so much. So I do think that is kind of a pretty key takeaway here too. Like if you're looking at both these phones, you are basically once again getting a phone that does perform a little bit better on the iPhone 15 Pro on the front side than the 14 Pro. But one of the biggest changes here, and something that I look at all the time, are the port selections on the bottom. The iPhone 14 Pro is giving you a Lightning port at the bottom, where the iPhone 15 Pro is basically giving you a USB Type-C port. This is once again another massive thing to keep in mind here too. If you're taking a look at both these devices, having a device like the iPhone 15 Pro, USB Type-C and all, that is a great device. I love that phone. And it is a really big difference coming from a Lightning port on the 14 Pro. I love having USB-C, and that is in and of itself going to be a really nice thing to kind of keep in mind there from that side as well. On the back side, you're getting frosted glass backs on both. So something I love frosted glass backs, and you're getting that type of capability on both these phones. You're getting your triple camera setups on the back sides with the LiDAR sensors. So this in and of itself is another really nice thing to basically have as well. And like I said, if I'm going to go through and pick up a device, I love having that type of capability when it comes down to it. Beyond that though, you're getting MagSafe and everything like that. And because the 14 Pro is older, it is going to cost a little bit less than the 15 Pro. The 14 Pro is probably going to cost around maybe $100 cheaper in the used market than the 15 Pro. Like the 14 Pro you could probably buy for around $400 to $500. The 15 Pro is probably still available around $500 to $650. So depends on the condition, depends on all of that. But that's kind of how both these phones kind of compare from those particular sides. Now on top of that, when it comes down to the camera quality, both these phones, like I said before, are giving you triple camera setups on the backside with these LiDAR sensors. So that's always something really nice to basically have here. You're still able to get 4K at 60 on the front and the back of both these phones, which is really, really nice. You're getting the same zooming in and zooming out. You're getting 3x zooming in, you're getting 0.5x zooming out. It's essentially more or less the same exact type of experience. So there's not really anything super insane going on here because they're both relatively around the same type of experience, which is good. The main difference here is that you are getting spatial photos and videos in the iPhone 15 Pro. So that could be something nice that you can go and kind of check out with that if you're somebody who wants to go through and just upgrade your phone in that sense. You do have that type of capability from that side as well, which is another really nice thing to kind of keep in mind there too. But I would probably say between both, both are really good, both are really good cameras. With my 15 Pro, again, this is the one that I use on an everyday basis, I haven't had too many issues with it, and I genuinely enjoy using this type of phone on an everyday basis from that side as well. So when it comes down to that, that kind of covers it up there for the most part. Now, on top of that, when it comes down to the software longevity, both these phones are still supported with software, and both these phones are going to be supported with software for many, many years now. So both these phones are going to be here for quite a bit of time, and I do think, once again, that is a nice thing to basically have. Being able to go through and pick up a phone like either one of these things, and having them still supported with software, still giving you capability like that, I think that is a really nice thing to basically have. And I do think if you're, like I said, if you're going to pick up a phone, you have to buy a phone that's going to be giving you software support, right? You have to buy a phone that's going to be giving you software longevity from that side. And that in and of itself is a really, really big key takeaway here when you're going through and using those types of devices. So from that in and of itself, that kind of covers it up there too. On top of that, when it does kind of come down to their battery life, the iPhone 14 Pro was giving you 23 hours of video playback. The 15 Pro was also giving you 23 hours of video playback. So not much really changed from that particular side either. So if you were somebody who was going to go through and pick up one of these types of phones, you're essentially getting similar type of experience from both these phones from that side. So once again, there really wasn't that big of a difference there either. So if you're going to pick up either one of these, it's basically the same exact thing for the most part as well. So for my personal opinion, that is in and of itself another pretty big thing to kind of keep in mind there too. Now, on top of that, another very big thing to keep in mind there is the performance. So for me personally, in my personal opinion, if you're going to go through and, if you're looking at both these phones, like the 14 Pro was giving you the Apple A16 chipset inside with 6 gigs of RAM, where the 15 Pro was giving you the A17 Pro chipset inside with 8 gigs of RAM. So you're getting more RAM instead of the iPhone 15 Pro. And you are getting Apple Intelligence inside of the 15 Pro as well, but it's like such a weird feature, it's not even worth talking about. But I would say the performance is definitely going to be better inside of the 15 Pro. I think it was one of the first Pro chipsets we've gotten on an iPhone in a long time. Yeah, I think it's the first one, right? Because I know the M series and MacBooks have it. So this one was a really good performing MacBook. I've had an amazing experience with this type of device when it comes down to it. Like, this thing has done a really, really good job at a majority of things that I've actually thrown at it with, which I've really, really loved. But I think when it comes down to both, in my personal opinion, from a performance side, the 15 Pro is definitely better, but I really like the 14 Pro still. Like, it's a very good performing device too. So overall, to kind of sum up this whole entire video, what I can tell you is that both these phones I think are very good. If the 15 Pro was a 10 out of 10, the 14 Pro is probably like a 9.7 out of 10. It is a very close device. That type of phone looks beautiful. It's an amazing looking phone. And I do think if you're going to go through and like pick up either one of these, you can't really go wrong with either one. They're both very solid options. I think the 15 Pro is one of those phones that I would look at, and I would personally recommend a lot more people to buy that one. It's a great phone, performs well. But if you want to save a little bit of money, I think you can still go for something like an iPhone 14 Pro. You can save some money here and there and still be able to go ahead and buy a device that looks and feels amazing. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there for the most part. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, till then.